breaking news for you. Real quick, the whole Sac-12, Sac State thing. We've said from the beginning, it's cool. It's neat that they are reaching for the stars. But as we said on the show many times, when you're talking about stuff like building a football stadium as one of the required prerequisites for this whole thing, where's the money coming from? How are they going to find the money to do this? Jason, I think that they have found the money.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
Sac State is announcing plans for the construction of a new multi-use stadium. I'm reading from the release. The state-of-the-art stadium will replace the current temporary stands at Hornet Stadium and provide Sac State with a venue to leverage its location in one of the top 20 media markets in the nation. It continues. The multi-sport facility will be designed to host football, men's and women's soccer, and men's and women's rugby. The stadium will also host collegiate, professional, and international competitions. They have secured architecture firm Populous to design the stadium, which will be constructed at the site of the current Hornet Stadium. Renderings will be released in the coming weeks, but will feature a horseshoe design, including student sections, premium seating, and boxes to accommodate 25,000 attendees. Now, I believe you've been to Hornet Stadium before, Jason.
I have a time or two, or 1,000.
We've talked from the beginning, like, hey, that's all great, grand, and wonderful, but you got to find the money, and these things aren't easy. And credit to them.
Mm-hmm.
They found it.
Yeah. And it's been something that, this school has been working on. People behind the scenes have been working on. And now you get more people involved, getting more attention to the school. So, there's some things out there that still feel like they've got to go in their favor to get ultimately where they want to get to. But a stadium is still, what if things never progress, but they get the stadium? That's still a boom for the city, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
For the school. So let's just say it's you have to have the invite to the Pac-12. You have to have the invite to the Mountain West. If those invites never come, you've got a new stadium still, and that is something that they need. And a facility upgrade just in general is what they've needed.
We had said from the beginning, when you saw, look, we started talking about this. We started talking about this really a couple weeks ago. And we had said all along, when you look at the people behind this, the people on the committee, what they're doing, we had talked about there has to have been quieter, some sort of conversations with the Pac-12. They're not just doing this for funsies and kicks. And I love the way this rollout is happening. Roll it out with the stuff. They didn't just make this deal last night.
Right.
So they've known this. They're rolling it out. And honestly, in the discussions, in the discussions that I've watched as we've really kind of picked up on the story, one of the major blowbacks is, yeah, that's great. You're not getting a stadium. They've been trying to build a stadium forever. You're not getting a stadium. It's not happening. So why are we even talking about this? And knowing this was, we found out late yesterday about this. Couldn't say again. It wasn't our news to break. But seeing a lot of those comments, it's like, I wonder, is there going to be goalposts moved here, or are maybe people going to start getting behind this whole thing?
Right.
Not that they weren't behind it, but just being. And by the way, I'm sorry, Jason. I was just going to say, I still am not convinced the Pac-12 is going to take them. That's still, to me,
right.
If I'm going to Vegas and put money down, I don't know that I'm probably placing it on Mountain West. But you got to credit Dr. Luke Wood, the president, Josh Wood, his brother, who we had on, who's co-chair of the committee, Angie Ashby, our dear friend, state senator, and everybody behind this. Like you said it perfectly. Worst case scenario, you got a brand new stadium.
Yeah, they've built a program. The football program is much better than it's ever been. They're more than competitive. They were 3-time Big Sky champions. They've been in the playoffs 4 straight years. And getting a new facility will only help that. Yeah. And it also only helps the options of potentially getting to the Pac-12 or the Mountain West. But like we said, if those don't happen,
Mhm.
if those invites never come true, they still have a new football stadium.
I believe. Well, what does it say embargoed? There will be. Sorry, I'm just getting some info right now, guys. I apologize. Let me read through it. Beep. I believe there's going to be a conversation later today with some media availability.
Yes.
I think at 10:30, I believe. You happen to know where that is? I'm reading this.
Yeah, it's on campus.
There you go, on campus as well. So, look, Jason, one of the cool things about many cool things about you being on this show is one of them is you're the longtime voice at Sac State. You're going to be able to underline this far better than I. You'll be able to bottom line this far better than I. How huge is this, not just for the football program, but just for the college and the university in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, anybody likes something that's new, that's current. Like what they've been able to do over the 20 plus years that I've been working with them is kind of piecemeal things to make the stadium better.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been able to do it in one shot. And I think that's ideally the way you do things. But if there's only one other way to improve from, when I first started working there, they had the coaches' offices were basically trailers on the opposite side of Highway 50 from the stadium. The Broad was not even there. Like, it's been a little bit more enclosed. Locker room and facilities are better, but now they don't have concessions. They have food trucks that are good. That's the piecemeal to make it better. They have temporary bathrooms. All these things. The press box has been renovated. It's better. There was an elevator that was scary. Now they've got a better elevator. All these things. But now, if you're doing something in one fell swoop in a big project like this, with a consistent facility, with obviously when you're doing something new, it's all the best stuff that you can do. And it sets you up as a school, as a university, to have some of the best stuff, compete with other teams in your league. And if you stay in the Big Sky or move up, now you're matching with other people. So this is all very, very big and good news.
Fair to say, look, there's a few hurdles here.
Sure.
This might be the biggest one.
When people are talking about upgrades and financial, the stadiums cost a ton of money, and this is something that they've been working on for a while, and to secure those funds is a huge deal.
And if you're the Pac-12 now, all of a sudden, I mean, as we've said, and by the way, this is kind of a teeter-totter here, because in some hands we know some things. I don't know anything about this part. I have no inside intel, and I wouldn't lie to you on this particular part. I firmly believe there has to have been some sort of off-record, back of a cigar-filled room, whatever conversation between Sac State entities and Pac-12 entities, or third parties that they're not just blindly putting this out there and doing this. So my guess, I'm underlining guess, is that there's been some sort of checklist. And I don't think it's quid pro quo. I don't think Pac-12 officials have said, hey, if you do this, this, and this. But we're talking, look at what they're putting out. The $5.1 million or $50 million over 10 years in NIL, the stadium, the market DMA information, the feasibility study, like all these things. They're much like with the Kings, there were these checklists that we kind of informally got from the NBA to knock out to try to save the team. I don't think the Pac-12 has necessarily said, if you build this, we will come.
Right.
But I think they've said, in order for you to join, these things have to be done. And yes, there's a legitimate chance if you do this. Also, it doesn't hurt either that UNLV and several schools yesterday, instead of leaping to the Pac-12, have signed a binding agreement to remain in the Mountain West. Now, all of a sudden, I believe the Pac-12 needs one more team to be an official conference, but that would put them at, what, 6?
They're at 7 now.
Or 8, sorry.
Yeah.
But that means there's, if they want, 4 more slots, because they ain't the Pac-8.
Right. Well, and I think that's important to point out that, I mean, if we're looking at the chess pieces, you're going, UNLV, Tulane, Air Force, just pick a bunch of, they're ahead. Like they're farther along in that they've been at FBS level.
Right.
They've been at that D1 level for so long. they're ahead of what Sacramento State is. But as people confirm or stay in certain spots and say, no, we're not interested, it does leave doors open. So the pool is shrinking a little bit. I still think it's a long shot, but I say, why not go for it? Again, if that's the goal, and if the second goal is Mountain West, and if you lose by saying you've got a brand new stadium and you're still working on other facilities and you stay in the Big Sky, that's not a loss to me.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll cross-talk it with Stiles and Watkins, celebrity birthdays, and more. All coming up right here on Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.